How are we doing, gentlemen?
Ready to rock.
Fantastic. In honor of some said person,
I know.
broke out my finest wine
Yeah,
shirt.
I like the shirt. It's in honor of our guests.
I'm very excited for today's guest. If I had to name someone who had the funniest and strangest experiences hosting Wild On, it would be the one and only Art Mann. Art was and is a legend when it came to interviewing the weird and wonderfully drunk people of the world. He'll tell us all about his best and worst travels and what it was like being on the road for a month looking for Brooks' replacement. I think everybody probably has a great Art Mann story. So close your trays, put your seat in the upright position because it's about to get wild.
Yeah.
What was that part of the graph?
It was backward.
This is the untold story, the behind-the-scenes mayhem, the chaos the viewers never saw, and the unforgettable tale of the most infamous travel show of its time. This is the Wildest Show on Earth, the rise and fall of Wild On. So the tides are changing in the world of Wild On. So this is around 2001, 2002. We are getting less of Brooke. Her stock is rising. She already had one child, and now she's pregnant with her second child. She was married to Garth Fisher, Beverly Hills premier plastic surgeon.
To the stars.
To the stars.
Mainly to all the playmates.
Yeah, that too.
They're stars.
And he may or may not. Well, he actually did work on me. He gave me a little pro bono work. Yeah, I had a bad scar. And he came in and he was like, "Let me get rid of that thing."
Kerry, we're getting
Where?
We're getting.
I know.
We're getting
Yeah.
exclusive
Where
here.
was it?
It was just on my back.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
laser off that tramp stamp.
Yeah, laser on my
While I'm
tramp
there,
stamp.
let me work on maybe below the belt too.
Yeah. But no. And so, yeah, we're getting less of Brooke. I remember doing a whole show. I went to South Africa. It was an amazing trip that you were supposed to go on. We talked about this.
Penalized.
We had so basically Brooke just started coming in and doing host raps, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And we were having to procure new talent, and then eventually we got the word that Brooke was going to leave the show. And now this, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I came up with the idea to do the nationwide search, and I came to you and talked about it. And I thought you and I went to Scott Woodward, our executive producer, to pitch the idea of doing that nationwide search for the next host. Is that what you recall?
Yeah, somewhat, I believe. I remember, it might have been your idea first, but I was like, we should get a tour bus. Because
Yes.
I did book the tour bus. I
Yes.
went and found one. Because Scott was basically like, well, if you can find one for this amount of money, we'll do it. And so it was like my mission, and I found a tour bus company that would do it. And I was like, we should wrap the bus. And then it was like, we can't afford that. So we'll just put up a little thing on the side. We had the picture of Brooke, and it was like said Wild Off or whatever it is, and we had it put on a vinyl thing put on the side of the bus.
No, I remember those meetings.
Yeah.
So we got it, I think Scott ran it up the flagpole, and he got it approved. And I remember those sitting in those meetings, we're like, we need a bus. And it was like, no, not a motorhome. We need a bus. We need a tour bus. And then you procured us a nice, well, not nice.
It wasn't that
Wait,
nice.
so
but-
It had some 70s. There was some definitely 70s rock band funk in that thing.
So this is good because I've never really heard this story because I left Wild On in the summer of 2000. And then, so fill me in because I had left E by this point. The date that this happened, when the bus started, and by the way, what were you going to fill on the bus? Who are the passengers going to be?
Oh, it was just us.
It was us, the producers.
It wasn't.
So it's just a way to build it up.
It was basically
bigger, right?
the crew.
mobile.
It was the crew and the producers.
What year are we talking about?
This is probably 2002, I think, because of the search was a success. I got a nice little bonus that year from Gary Snageroff, who was one of the executives.
Oh, you got $500? That was my bonus.
I got a
one time.
whopping 2,000, I think.
Oh, wow.
You got a bonus?
I got a little bonus,
What?
which was never
That
heard
was-
of.
that was-
Yeah,
huge
I
money
didn't.
then.
None of us got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's funny.
I got shown the door.
So basically, it was the right thing to do because we wanted to make this a nationwide event, but all of you kind of rallied behind this thing. They got all the talent, casting, all got involved. Like they were going ahead of us into these cities looking for talent. So they're calling modeling agencies, whoever, and they would kind of find these girls for us, and then we would follow up and then shoot with the girls that they had selected. and go do some sort of activity, some sort of adventure, whatever, some tour, and they would be our host for the night when we ran into the city. So when we did that, though, I said, I want to do the South.
Yeah.
Like, give me the South. So I had Dallas so Larissa had, I think, California to Dallas, and then I picked up in Dallas. I met her in Dallas and traveled from Dallas to D.C., and
That's when we got on.
yeah, and then I met Carrie in D.C., and it was awesome. It was actually one of my favorite trips that we did, just because you roll into a small town. I mean, it's a small town, but it's not Los Angeles, right? Nobody's jaded, and they see the Wild On bus and E, and I felt like Elvis Presley rolling off this thing. I mean, I literally, when I got into, this is a funny story, we rolled into Panama City, and we're at the hotel, getting off the bus, and this guy's helping me with my bags, getting off the bus. And he goes, man, you get to travel all over the world? And I said, yeah. Really? And you didn't have to join the Navy to do that. I was like, no, didn't have to join. But I was like, that was his idea of seeing the world, was you got to go through the Navy. And it was just that bus would come to town and people were aware of it. And it just felt.
I mean, we would literally pull this thing up to every nightclub.
Yeah.
And so it was just a giant mobile billboard for us.
Right.
I mean, I think one of the things we wanted to stay away was like, this isn't going to be a bus like Joe Francis where we're bringing girls on and we're, doing whatever. It was just more of a
promotional thing.
Yeah, promotional thing.
Yeah.
And it was just the crew and us, and everybody took a bunk, and, and it, like Sean said, it was a 80s bus interior-wise.
Wow.
Just probably a winger, foreigner, spent some time on that thing. But it just became part of the fun. We didn't sleep on the thing. I mean, we slept like going city to city. I remember I'd take a nap, and we'd like leave a Cracker Barrel. I'd wake up and I'd be in another Cracker Barrel, in a different city. A lot of Cracker Barrels.
What period of time are we talking about for the whole duration of the search?
I think it was a month, maybe
probably
5
about
weeks.
a month. Yeah, but Art was traveling.
Yeah.
Art is traveling with us, and he's meeting us city to city. But he rented
No, he drove his own truck.
Was a truck? I thought he had that convertible. I thought he was doing a convertible. We'll have to find out.
You're right. Maybe he might have had that Mustang
But yeah, so Art is
convertible.
meeting us city to city and kind of either going ahead of us or catching up to us. And, and so Art kind of became the voice of the search for the next host. But out of that experience, we got some famous faces that you see today. So Vanessa Minnello was one of the finalists.
Vanessa Lachey now.
Vanessa Lachey, who hosts Love is Blind. We got, what is her name? Rachel Reynolds, who is on Price is Right. An interesting one is Karen McDougal. I sent you guys that article.
Yes.
Yep.
So for those not aware, Karen McDougal allegedly was hooking up with our current president, Donald Trump. Allegedly.
Former Playmate of the Year.
Yeah.
Former Playmate of the Year.
Playmate.
And we had, was it Katana Baker?
Yes,
I think. Who went on to wrestle in the WWE. There was another actress that we had as well. I forget her name, but
So it's almost like E's version of American Idol.
a little bit.
Many of the finalists
Yeah.
went on to
It
do
was
big
like an
things.
open casting call too. I think we had,
They would show up
Weintraub
for
and
the
stuff.
casting team that went ahead, and I think they would read some copy and had to get in a bikini, and that was kind of the gist of it.
Right.
And
And then-
we had we had packages. I remember of the footage of the girls in line and everybody in line, and we would cover the casting thing.
Yep.
So-
Exactly.
And the episodes themselves, would they be titled Wild Off or Wild On Wild Off, or was that ever part of the title? during
It
those shows?
was. I think it was like a 3-part or 2-part special that we did, that we kind of combined all this footage in, because part of it was about the casting. It's actually on YouTube. I just watched it.
Is it really?
There's a funny clip of it because we went skydiving in Atlanta, Georgia, with Nikki Cortez. Who was another one of them. Pretty blonde girl. So we took her skydiving. She was not thrilled about it. Eventually, she jumped out, but I was holding a camera in the back of the plane, and they said, "Look, you're going to go for a ride." And this is one of those planes where they open up the whole side of the door.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're going to go for a ride." And so this guy walks back and he double buckles me into this seat. And there's a camera that we have suctioned to the opposite side of the door so we could see people jumping out the bay door, basically. But the camera's kind of pointed back at me as I'm filming. So everybody jumps out of the plane, and all of a sudden the plane just does a dive bomb, like a straight dive bomb. And if you're looking at the footage from the skydivers, it's on Nikki. There's a camera, and behind Nikki you see the plane, and it's in a direct skydive. Like it's in a direct bomb going straight up and down. And the footage of me, though, I'm like, oh, like screaming. Just was not ready for that. And then the camera fell because it decompressed. So all the pressure of the camera fell. And the thing just slides like inches, like 6 inches from the door. But it's super loud. And so I'm screaming at the pilot. I'm like, hey, stop. I'm like, the camera. I'm trying to get the camera. And eventually the guy sees me. And this took huge balls from this guy. Door is wide open. I mean, this is a huge bay door that's like probably, 6 feet by 6 feet, just an open space to,
Yeah.
He comes stumbling back to the back. He's got his hands all on the roof. He stumbles back to the plane and just grabs the bay door and just like slams it down. But man, we're thousands of feet above the earth. Yeah.
If he got sucked out, you're screwed.
Oh, completely. Completely.
But so how did Cindy Taylor...
So she,
so she became the host. So the Wild Off ultimately was not successful, or was?
She was one of the finalists.
She was one of the finalists, but she's from Paraguay originally, right?
But they went through like modeling agencies,
right.
And so I think that's how she came about. I never shot with Cindy on the road.
No, I believe Sheila did.
Okay.
Because they became good friends too.
Okay.
But I think Larissa and Sheila, excuse me, Sheila, not Sheila.
But I mean, leading up to the Wild Off, I don't remember anybody shooting with her. To your point, so I don't know how she came in.
Yeah.
Cindy was very attractive. She was a professional model.
Yeah.
She was one of the finalists. And we all were kind of feeling Vanessa Manillo would be our next host.
Yeah, everyone loved her. She was fun. She was super easy to work with, super personable.
So why wasn't she ultimately the host?
I think money is what came down. I could be wrong, but I think they didn't want to pay her because I thought, she had experience and she was going to have more. She went, as soon as we didn't, she went to TRL. Like, TRL signed her like that.
Yeah.
And so I think they wanted someone like Brooke who was hot and could mold, and they didn't have to pay anything. I don't know.
That track.
But I thought you said
can't spell E without cheap. Or spell cheap without E. Sorry.
But,
yes.
But I thought also, I think you said, didn't Minnie Herman thought she was pretty or
that
had
was
a crush
and that's all conjecture.
Yeah.
That Mindy Herman, she's ultimately, I think, the one who made the decision. That's what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that could be just, allegedly. But I also liked Rachel Reynolds a lot, too, because Art and I shot with her in New Orleans, and she was just so effervescent, so bubbly, small-town, provincial sort of girl. And seeing the world through her eyes would have been a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Everything would have been a new experience and just... oh my God, this is crazy, and that would have been kind of fresh, new, and exciting.
And was Art along to kind of help carry the load of getting content for these shows?
Totally. And so we would do a shoot with these girls, and Art, we generally pair Art up with them. Mm-hmm. And, it also just kind of help make that handoff a bit easier and a little bit more fun. And again, Art is so disarming, with everybody. And so he really just made their experience that much easier. He'd help him, give him little tips and stuff beforehand. I actually use one of Art's tips to this day when I'm dealing with talent, which is, when you're having this conversation, and there's the camera, you just act like the camera's a third person. So it's like, you're not gonna leave the third person out,
Yeah.
And but I use that direction all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can't talk about the Wild Off, can't talk about Wild On without the one and only Art Mann. Let's say hello to Art Mann.
Yeah, buddy.
Looks like
intro. Hey, dude.
Looks like you're on a Wild On shoot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing's changed.
Beautiful background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my life, guys. It's my life. Look at fucking Olsen. Looks like he's ready to do a fucking GQ shoot or some shit.
It's a good-looking man.
So we were basically just talking about the Wild Off and what a cluster the final announcement was for the Wild Off.
What do you mean by cluster?
It was, so we had this whole buildup. We toured the country to find, these beautiful women that could be the next potential host of Wild On. And we were shooting out at the Palms Casino for a few days. We took each of those girls, had their own little separate adventure. And then the word came down all of a sudden that we needed to announce the host. And there was no pageantry, no sort of, let's have, our version of a rose ceremony, let's light this thing beautifully. It was basically, we got word that day, we need to go announce the host. And we went up to Ghost Bar, middle of the day, looks like hell, and did this kind of slap together announcement of who the host was going to be. And
it was a different co-host every 3 hours for 30 days. And it came down to telling Cindy, like with a casual, like as if to say your table is ready. Like, oh, your table's ready. Oh, thank you. Great. Like, yeah, there was no, dude, is that the one when we did the search? That's where we had the 38 specials, like former tour bus. Is that the one?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We talked about that earlier. It was 1980s interior.
So, yeah, there was some lingering funk in that. Do you remember the bus driver's name? I was trying to remember his name.
Oh, I can't.
I caught word of the bus and smelling like diesel and stuff, and I'm like, I seen Smokey in the band. I go, I need a chase vehicle on this. So I called my buddy who did product placement for BMW, and I got us a brand new BMW M3 convertible.
Yep, that's right.
And I still remember because then we got a U-Haul trailer for it, so we could put it on the trailer, we could use it for shoots, the whole thing. So I drive the first leg, and we get to New Mexico or somewhere, and the bus driver comes up to me and he goes, "You're not using that trailer at all, are you?" And I said, "No, probably not." So we drove that fucker all the way to New York. And it was great, dude, because it felt like Smokey and the Bandit. Because I could catch up to you guys. I think I got pulled over for going like 110 once the guy was cool about it.
No, it was great. We had such a good time on that. And
you did drive everywhere, though. Did you not like to fly?
No, but I just felt like if the shoot's in Denver and I got to go over the Rocky Mountains and then hang out with the Denver people, like now I'm all used to the climate and everything, but also I just feel more like I'm in Denver now. Like flying in, you go to the airport, you go to the hotel, and then you go do the shoot. It always just felt so like. Does this make any sense to anybody? Or is it so stupid?
Fish out of water, but they're way more embedded with them.
And that's what. So the show, again, I know we're not here to talk about, it, but the show I did after that. Dude, we did 250 episodes of this show all over the country. I drove to every single one of them.
Yeah.
Well, because they couldn't afford to fly you.
Couldn't afford to fly. Dude, fuck off, Millhouse. And
it was Mark Cuban,
I actually made twice. I made twice as much working for them than for the E Channel. And where else would I get this thing made? The TV
your
Gold
award.
Thank you.
Yeah.
TV Gold.
What I remember about the search was it was really cool because, like I said, we did do the math on it. And I think for every waking hour, it was like every 3 hours, I would have essentially a different co-host because they wanted me to go places with them and help them feel at ease and kind of see what we could get out of them, like so to speak, like from a personality standpoint. And it was very enjoyable because you have a person that's so hopeful. They see Brooke like absolutely killed it. You know what I mean? Like she's amazing. Like she did such a great job, like becoming a superstar by being the host that you could see it in the eyes of a lot of these girls that they're like, I could be the next Brooke Burke. Like, and so to be there with them when they're that hopeful, it was, I don't know, it sounds kind of corny, but it was pretty fun because all of them were crazy exciting. We worked with them all across the country. Like it was
totally. And it was
just wild, dude.
Yeah. And we got some interesting names out. Remember Rachel Reynolds in New Orleans?
Oh yeah, dude. Rachel was amazing to me. I thought Rachel had that like she was experiencing everything for the first time. She was cool. Not to say that like, cause I didn't have anything to do with any of the decision-making process. I mean, I'm not, never mind.
None of us did.
None of us really did.
Cindy.
No,
we all voted for Vanessa.
I'm not bashing Cindy, but I'm just saying
anything.
When I think back, like, because Rachel was the one that stands out as far as she just had that, that wide eye.
Totally.
Like,
yeah, everything was fresh and new to her, and she had
excitement.
Totally, that's what we were saying as well. And Vanessa was probably the most polished because she was a former Miss Teen USA.
Yep.
And you could see that she had a path ahead of her, for sure. But yeah, all of us were kind of surprised with the decision. And again, not taking away from Cindy, she was great and beautiful.
Yep.
But
It's funny that you bring up the final though, because I hadn't thought about that. It was pretty hilarious, and that can tell I can tell that because you guys say that I kind of think a little bit like a producer, but let's be honest, not as much as you guys do. And so when when we did have to pick the winner, it really was strange. It was almost like we heard from the front desk that we were over budget or something. We had to just wrap this up and get out of there.
that's what we were saying.
Because it was very sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all of a sudden, all right,
And I
guys,
think-
we're going to go do this. Yeah.
And wasn't there another rule that came in late in the game where it's like, don't forget, Budweiser's a big sponsor, and
Yeah,
they don't
right.
have any spokespeople that are under 23. There's some
Yeah,
sort
we
of
had to be over 25.
some sort of late in the game rule
It
that
was.
came in.
You're right. I forgot about you had to be over
Yeah.
25.
Art, do you think that was part of the decline of Wild On, or at least with the franchise, and that there were more regulations, rules, ad sales had more of a say? It was no longer the scruffy little island of misfits as
Yeah.
it started out. It became more corporate.
The vibe I always got was it couldn't be like a flagship show because it was a TNA show. And so in-house, I never felt that it got like the love and respect that, because imagine if Wild On was some sort of I don't know, something where they follow a young actor and their his or her journey through being discovered or whatever. Like they would have really gotten behind that, right? But how are you going to get behind a show where some ass clown is shopping with 6 Hawaiian Tropic girls in Cabo?
You're right,
Right.
because around the same time that Wild On was winding down, they started more of becoming what E is now, which is reality all the time. And The Simple Life was a big show with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. And that was just kind of what you described, like two beautiful people you want to watch and follow and get their big break. And it was on prime time. They really got behind it. Meanwhile, Wild On probably was pulling in bigger numbers, but it was relegated to midnight.
Yeah.
And it was everyone just kind of plugged their nose
The
and
network's dirty secret.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, they'd also.
Well, and
Anna
I don't
Nicole was the
I don't
first.
think
Anna Nicole
Yeah.
was the first big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you may or may not know this, but you have, what was it, Insomniac with the David Tell show?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him in interviews say that Wild On inspired that show because he wanted to do Wild On for ugly people, was his quote, not mine. And then, hey, are we just gonna are we slamming management here? What are we doing?
No, we haven't slammed any management.
We don't work for them anymore,
I
dude.
have, but
Carry a little bit, but yeah, I mean, if feel free. I'm not going to, stop you. But if
No, are you kidding me? That was stealing money. That's like, I think the only show I ever worked on that was more like something that you should actually go to prison for because you're just stealing money is probably Search Party, which I don't know. That's a whole different podcast. But that was a different beach every other week, a different beach, and we were finished by 2 every day, and you're still stuck. Oh, we're in St. Martin. What are we gonna do now?
Well,
But, yeah.
Search Party came about because Survivor had just launched, and I remember E was trying to figure out.
Look at you sexy bastards. Look at the 3 of you. It's the dude. You guys don't understand. This is so cool. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you like it? We got a
But it's
show
just cool to
logo and
see you
everything.
guys. I feel like I'm we're in the freaking Cal Fed building, and I'm like, hey, are we doing an international shoot? What are we?
But we. You
Sorry, Sean.
you sidetracked me. No, so basically, Search Party, since you brought it up, was E's answer to trying to do reality. So these shows were taking off, Survivor, The Bachelor, and so they were trying to figure out what's our answer to this, and they came up with Search Party, which was an abomination, which is basically taking.
Wait, what?
Cindy, what's her name? Carol.
Carol Grow.
Oh,
Carol
she's
Grow.
the worst. Sorry.
It was basically taking celebrities to a tropical.
She's so
location.
nice. She was very nice.
I thought she was well suited for Search Party because she was, very enthusiastic, high energy.
Thank you,
and,
Paul.
Yeah, and it was almost like a game show made up on the fly. It was like, and usually involving swimming pools at a hotel.
Yeah.
How many of these
And whipped
you
cream.
can describe
A lot of
and
whipped
cream.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of chaos, but it was sexy chaos.
You know what was cool, Paul, about that one was because if a show is great, you want the credit, right? And if you have a sense maybe it's not great, you don't want the blame. And it was made very clear to me that Scott and Carol are the hosts, you're the referee. And in that case,
Right,
I
you
was
were
like,
the referee.
Because I'm looking around, and so basically I just had to. It was like this. It was like this. All right, this next game is called ball slapping noodle hockey. There's 2 teams, so you should get 3 balls. And it was like the biggest. It was the biggest joke.
And you're probably
in the world,
making
dude.
the rules up. You're making the rules up as you go along as the ref. Be honest.
A little bit, yeah. Well, yeah, because Look, man, there was a huge problem with that show, and it's not what you guys are saying. For me, because I was an engineering major for 2.5 weeks, so for me it was the math of it, right? So I go, wait a second. So they do all these different physical challenges, like all these different things. No, well, it started with them searching all over the land for things, right? But my point is, let me say this: everything they did on the show was worth like 10 points, and then this is why you realize Jeopardy is genius. Everything was worth 10 points. And then the last thing was worth like 750,000 points. So you really could just phone it in for the whole show and then just win that last thing. Like they never gave any thought to the math. Are you guys still there?
Yeah. No, I'm trying not to laugh over you because I'm still laughing at ball slapping
That's why
noodle hockey. Because that was like there would be a pool noodle involved, whipped cream.
That was a real
Crappy
game.
props. Yeah, whatever you could get for super cheap.
No, Matthew Malik was the writer on that, and his whole thing was, let's think of how to make the games like sound like some porn, like a porn title.
And also Scott, the co-host, for the viewers or listeners, Scott was who?
Scott Lasky. I think he was like a sports guy they brought in, but
Right.
the point was, I don't know if you're just listening, let me explain this to you guys. I'm not necessarily an attractive man. I'm very charismatic, but I'm not an attractive man. So they brought
Don't
Carol
sell
in.
yourself short, brother.
Yeah.
Carol was Carol was like Barbie, and Scott was like Ken. I don't mean any disrespect by that, but it was like Scott and again, Scott was great, and this isn't a diss, but every time before we do something, he'd be like, oh, hold on a second, and you got to go do like 40 push-ups. So he'd come back and be like, all right, I'm ready now. Check. All right, here we go. And in his defense, he has no shirt on for the whole show. I was lucky I could put a stupid Hawaiian shirt. And when that show started, by the way, I broke my back on Wild On the A-list. I was in Acapulco and broke my back on a Wild On shoot. So for half of that show, I had a big back brace on at the beginning of it. But it shows you how easy the job is. Like you can go do it with a broken back because all you got to do. Hey, our next game is ball slapping noodle hockey. Here's how it works. Each team gets a ball and a noodle, and they have it was just a simple. Dude, this isn't hard work. All this stuff is such a scam. Every show I've ever done is absolutely stealing money. It's a blessing.
You were the color, you were the flavor to this show. We have so many fond memories of doing the show with you.
By the way, I worked with all three hosts. I did Wild Ons with. Sorry to interrupt, because I feel like Sean, you're such a beautiful man. I knew it was going to get like more and more, like lots of praise was coming my way, and I wrecked it. But I worked with Jules, with Brooke, and with Cindy. I've done shoots with all three of them. Thank you.
Yeah, you did. No, you were
Trifecta.
Yeah.
And what we loved about you on the shoots, Art, is we couldn't have the hosts all the time for the full 60 minutes we have to come back with. You were sort of our jack of all trades, throw you in somewhere where you also were. You yourself had mentioned there's, let's say, Todd Newton, Scott Lasky. These are kind of like the Ken type, good-looking guys.
I am better looking than Todd, though. I just said Scott was the handsome guy.
But you're kind of a lot of women would tell us, and many of the people we'd interview, that you're like their funny brother. You're non-threatening. You would make them feel at ease. You're like
don't
the
wanna
regular
bang 'em.
guy, right?
No, but I'll give
You just want to hang out with them. You don't want to bang them. I get you.
For some more ball lathering
Thanks,
coming
Paul.
your way. I was going to say, more than any other host, you were so disarming. Every situation, and we were in, a lot of times just people are just drunk, they're wasted, and they get angry, combative, and you were able to come in there and just melt everybody, just put everybody at ease, everybody was calm and having a good time. But you made the shoots just so much fun and just easy to do, because you also thought like a producer as well. You knew that what was the goal that had to be mined. What are we getting here? Or you knew how to pivot, All right, let's call an audible on this. What's more fun? Let's go do this thing over here. There, I'm done.
Dude, I just do this all day. Thank you, dude. That's so nice of you.
Yeah. No,
and it's not rocket science. I think if anyone is studying interviewing drunk people at home, what Sean's saying is probably just be non-threatening. You don't want to come at them, with anything. As I notice with drunk people, when you ask if they're anything about drunk, they think you're a cop instantly, and they get all on the defensive. But it's really as simple. And I think because I started at the E! Channel, I did a lot of pretty cool interviews with Jim Carrey and Robin Williams and stuff like that, Jennifer Aniston. And the job was shut up, don't no one wants to see you, they want to see them. So just shut up and hold the mic. And I think in my opinion, it's the same strategy with the drunk people. Don't try to be funny or anything. Just hold the mic. They're going to do all the magic for you, you know?
Well, and part of the success of that, what you're talking about, is the viewer can kind of experience this through your eyes. Like you would often like look to the camera, you're breaking the third wall, and you're like, can you guys believe this, what I'm experiencing? Like, I felt like as they're watching you do it, they're experiencing it as well, and you're like, come on, let's share this shock and awe or whatever together, because you just shut up, like you said, and let them do their thing. And
I think too, Paul, is letting them believe that they are just as qualified to do the job as I was. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like what you're saying is it's relatable, right?
Real quick, let's get the Art Man origin story. How did you end up at E? How did you end up at Wild On?
The quick version of ending up at E is I called and asked if I could work there. That's really like the quick version of the story.
It was that easy back in the day.
No, it wasn't that it was easy. I just think that it was just sort of lucky because I called. So at the time, Lee Masters was like, I forget what they called him, the president, do we know? It's like
He was the
the
president.
CEO,
He was
the
the owner.
PM.
He started the network.
All that will
He's
work.
like the president.
Yeah.
I think
The
they
big
called him the
cheese.
president. No, but I called him. I was doing a local show in New England, and it happened to be for one of the big carriers. It was at the time it was Continental Cablevision. So I called Lee Masters, the president of E, as Art Man from Continental Cable. So he took the call right away, thinking, "Oh, it's one of the big carriers. Let's see what this guy wants." And then all of a sudden, it's this ass clown, and I'm going, "Hey, man, I noticed you got some people filling in on a lot of different shows. They're not that great." I said, tomorrow's a little tight, but I could fill in Thursday or Friday. And then he's like, "Oh, that's great." And he goes, "Hold on, let me transfer you to our." And I feel like he was just clowning me, And he's like, "Let me transfer you to Fran Shea, our head of programming." And then, it's Fran's like, "What the hell is I'm getting a call transferred from Lee. I better talk to this guy." And I'm just like, and again, the short version of the story is that I said, "Yeah, Lee just wanted you guys to fly me out and interview me for potential on-air positions." And so long story short, they ended up flying me out, and I met with all the people at the E channel, all the VPs or whatever, and no one. They took me to lunch. We chit-chatted, and then John Riber's the last one. I sat with John, and John said, "How's the day going?" He said it kind of like with a little smirk, and I go, "Fine." He goes, "Is it what you expected?" I'm like, "Not really." He's like, "What did you expect?" And I said, "I expected that you'd have a camera crew and I could wander around and interview people. Like, that's what I do." And he goes, "Oh, hold on a second." And he just, as easy as that, he picks up the phone. He's like, "Who's down in the crew room?" He's like, "Oh, George and Oscar? Yeah, tell them we're going to do a little quick thing, wander around the building. Tell them to get ready." And he goes, "All right, just meet in the crew room, take them around for a half hour." And so real quick, he came back with the tape. I showed it. John he goes, "Go wait in the lobby." John looks at the tape. He calls me back in and he goes, this was tape at the time. And John goes, "I watched what you did and you kind of made something out of nothing, and that's what we do a lot around here." which was true, because the very first thing I did for the E channel was like a fashion show for pigs, like actual pigs. And so, which actually, when I say that out loud, doesn't sound like such a bad shoot. But I also did like RoboCop the ride at Universal, like stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to give like the math of it, but John said we don't have a position. Wait, John doesn't work there anymore, right?
No.
Yeah. So he hired me as a producer, or he couldn't hire me as a producer. He hired me as a AP, as a associate producer, and then he said, "This is what I can do. I'll hire you as associate producer, and every time you're on the air, you'll get like $450, and I promise to get you on the air a couple times a week." And that's what I went there thinking, like, oh, the guy said it, he's going to do it, and he did. And that's all you got to tell me is, dude, I grew up picking blueberries. The more blueberries I pick, the more money I got. So you tell me that every time I'm in the air, I'm going to get $450. Trust me, I'm going to get on the air. That's why some of you boys worked in the international department.
That's
We did
right.
a lot of silly international shows, because every one of those is like, thank you.
Well,
That's all we did.
that's a great origin story. I hadn't realized that, and I mentioned on another episode of what we're doing here that you on FYE, which I think Michael Kastner was a host of that before you, right?
Yep.
And
When it was domestic, yeah.
Yeah, it was domestic. It was like a magazine show. It was like you said, the opening of RoboCop ride, and like opening of like a water slide and a premiere and a celebrity interview, and you're just all over the place as this like guy roaming around. And I'm watching this at home, like I need in on that. I wanted a TV job. I felt like that would be fun, and you were the one who kind of lured me to E. And then I
No,
got,
get
yeah,
outta here.
seriously, yeah, and
Dude, I didn't know that. You never told me that.
yeah, well, I don't want you to get a big head at the time.
I have a giant head.
Yeah, he has a
The
giant
only two
head.
people with
It's
bigger
too
heads
late
that
for
I've
that.
interviewed, NASCAR's Dale Jarrett and Jay Leno, both have a larger dome than mine. Oh, Todd Newton's head is bigger than mine also.
Art Man has one of the
Oh.
largest heads I've ever. I've done a few shoots
Dude, it's true.
where we had to
I
get.
never
he
noticed
I was on a
needed
flight one
helmet.
time and I'm
We
just
cannot
kinda
find a
going like
helmet
this.
for him.
But no,
No,
dude,
I was on a flight one time and I'm just going like this, right? And I'm going, oh, I'm so tired. And I go, oh my God, this is like a fucking basketball. Like, because it's rare that you actually like hold your head. You know what I mean? But this head is huge, dude.
But
anyway, sorry.
and
talking
then
about Wild On.
after we did FYE, and then I moved over to the international department, which is where I met Carrie, and then we eventually went to Wild On. But while we were in the international department, we worked on some cool shows, including Behind the Scenes, BTS, which you also hosted many of those episodes. And I don't know if you remember this, but you and I did the BTS of Richie Sambora. And
Yes.
right, you know, the lead guitarist of Van Halen, and he had a concert at the Forum. Van Halen,
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi, sorry.
Sorry, listeners.
Let's
Yeah, I knew what you
retract
meant,
that.
but yeah, Richie Sambora.
Richie Sambora, lead guitarist of Bon Jovi. And we go to the Forum in Los Angeles and Inglewood, and you established so clearly a rapport with him, with the fans. You filled up an hour, and Sambora, like, loved you. And you're just like, again, just the guy, the fly on the wall, like, can you believe this shit? Like, that was your tone the whole time, which is, I think, so accessible for people. And I used to joke with my friends, and you would probably speak more to this, but you have this formula for sucking people in, for setting up where we are. And it's always like two questions. Something like, where am I? Backstage at the Forum. What am I doing here? Waiting for a rock god to come through those doors. And then, like, bam, and we're in. You set the context, and like that, you know, it was, I don't know if that's something, maybe you could tell us your influences, because you once told me Alan Thicke was someone that you really liked.
You got to hear. Art's got a Dead to Rights.
No.
Alan Thicke
No,
impersonation.
no, he's not my influence. No, it's just that, no,
All right, and
it's-
that's the end
some
of the
people-
interview. Thank you, Art.
People,
So, Art, if I'm remembering correctly, your transition into Wild On was we just needed more talent. They're already paying you. You're in-house, and we need you to kind of like deal with all these drunk people. I mean, was that the way in?
cost effective, Paul. It was, in my opinion, it was rarely based on talent. It was just cost effective. It's like, this guy doesn't get in the way. If we need him to, he can go into edit bay and put his stuff together by himself. Like, let's just send that guy.
Good
yeah,
point.
stay under the radar. You guys know, you guys know the rule. You can work on it. You know, the interesting thing to me about Wild On, though, having done, I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. I've done hundreds and hundreds of shows, like for the E channel. I did so many things before Wild On where you'd walk around and it was just rare that anyone would say anything to you. The second I started doing Wild On, it's like just everywhere you go. And to this day, the fact that it holds like a place, because I've done, after Wild On, I've done a couple other shows, but one of the ones, we did 10 seasons of a show called Art Man Presents, and for Mark Cuban, and that show usually is what they say to me, but because Wild On is a long time ago, there's still tons of people that come up to me. They have that blows my mind that you work on anything that has a little space in their memory where they remember, like, oh, I remember you and Brooke on Sunset Strip in a Mustang, and you're like, let's go, bitches, or whatever. Like, they remember things that you said or that we did, you guys. It's crazy to me that we created memories, and we create, and it's escapism. I think it's so huge and important. I've talked to you guys off of this thing about this individually, like doing this escapism stuff. My brother has some big, U.S. attorney job or whatever, right? Well, that's important. But what we do and what we've always done is hugely important too, because you give people a break from all the serious stuff, and I think, and like you create those memories for them. Like you said, they live through us, going to these crazy places. I wouldn't have gone to the crazy places if it wasn't for the job. So I just think it's cool. But anyway, are you guys still there?
Yeah. And also, totally. And also, we discussed that this was one reason people are coming to you talking about you on the Sunset Strip and all these memories of Wild On is because it existed in a world where not everyone was on the internet yet. So we all had a commonality of like watching just particular cable channels at night. And so you're getting everybody's attention. So that's going to register with them decades later, that memory.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck this up, but with all the stuff I've done, I don't know why. Maybe because, like you guys said, because I'm just non-threatening, whatever. I don't get like bad. I'm gonna screw this up. Hey, go ahead, send me a bad message if you want to prove me wrong. But all this time, I haven't received I don't receive bad messages. Like I don't on my YouTube videos. I don't get comments that are bad. Like everyone's just nice to me. Like because I don't want any trouble. But on Wild On, the only time I received bad emails or messages, whatever, was because a lot of times, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times, I got the message that said, dude, I'm just trying to tug one out. And then here comes your goofy ass having fun with 3 Hawaiian Tropic girls going shopping in Cabo. Like, is there a way we can cut you out of there? Like, I don't want you unemployed, but can we just have your voice maybe or whatever?
Just climaxing when it hits your face.
Has this guy never heard of a mute button? I mean, you know.
I'm at some crazy beautiful place, and I have like 5 Hawaiian Tropic girls with me, and you guys would say, okay, let's do a shopping segment. You go shopping with them. I'm like, well, wait, so how do we end up here? Like, why am I with these?
Where
5?
am I? Where
Yeah,
am I?
you
Who am I with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you guys are like, doesn't matter. Just go shopping with them, dude. There's no backstory. Like, it was because that's the show. The show was like just sexy people in sexy places, you know, doing sexy things.
Yeah.
You say,
Yeah,
all
for
right,
sure.
carry-
And plus me.
So what was your first Wild On shoot? Probably with Jules, yes?
Shit, that's a good question. Yeah, it was probably the Jules one. We went to Thailand, dude. Did the Muay Thai and the you know, probably ate some food and I've been sick a couple of times eating the food of the foreign lands, you know, if you're not ready for that. I remember I got really sick in Brazil in the Amazon eating some sort of bugs or whatever. So, because I remember this, the producer was Jenna. We're in Brazil and she's like, we got to do a quick thing with you with the street food on the way to the airport. And I'm like, oh, no. I don't eat the street food. It never works out for me. And she's like, it's fine. Because we had this tour guide with us. He said it's, you know, she's like, I forget his name, Pete, you know, Pete says it's fine or whatever. And so of course I eat the street food real quick. And then sure enough, I'm just blowing up all over the place. And when you're on a flight and you're sick like that, it's so great. Because the first time you go to the bathroom and you go in the bathroom to either throw up or whatever goes on in there. And then you come back and sit down. And then the second time, and you go back and sit down. But by the third time, you start winning over the cabin. They're going, because they're looking at you like, oh, dude, like, I feel for you, man. Like, you need anything? Like, they really couldn't, they're starting to understand, like, that guy's got some issues. Like, that's got to be horrible. And it was, because it's, if you fly back from, I think it was Amazonia, it takes a minute to get home. And you just want to go, you know, you're sick, you just want to get home.
When you think about the show, is there?
I love you guys, Sean. Sean, I got to interrupt you. Look at this fucking crew right here, dude.
No, I know. We're supposed to have Chadley here today, but he didn't want to
Chadwick Rameshwar Gadgetar, the best name of anyone I've ever met in my life.
I was excited, but he didn't want to deal with the traffic. Traffic was an issue.
Sorry.
So you take that up with him. So is there?
All right, real quick, can we cuss on this thing?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hey, Chad. Fuck off, Chad. You couldn't just fight some traffic for this reunion? And what's he even doing today?
School.
Sorry. That's all I have.
Anyway, yeah.
It's not really an insult. It's just a message.
I want you to tell the story about how you broke your back. But that probably had to be your worst experience. But when we think about the show, what are some experiences that stand out to you? Favorite experiences or just funny experiences? You know, my time with you on the road doing the Wild Off or the search was hilarious. We had every day was just hysterical. We had just such a good time doing that. My other funny experience was when we were trying to do Celebrity Adventures, and you and I did the pilot episode of that. We went to France with Kelly Wigglesworth, who was she was the runner-up. Or no, she won.
Laughing? I love this guy.
Anyway, for the first Survivor. And the idea is we go to Biarritz, France, which is a huge surf hub. And they're having a Legends tournament. So all the former #1 legends there, so like Kelly Slater's there, Tom Curran, Tom Carroll, all these amazing surfers. And so 2 experiences just stood out. I always think of that trip because it just makes me laugh. But they didn't get us a hotel. We were staying with like this old man in his home, you know. And it was literally like Old Man in the Sea. Like, you know, it looks straight out of Central Casting. It opens up this old wooden door. And it's this old man, but you made
So weird.
Art started clowning me because I have French cousins, so I hug the old man and I give him a kiss on either cheek. And
You kissed him.
and Art goes, "Hey, what is this? When you come over to Europe, you just start kissing dudes. I don't know what this is, you know."
He just felt so much at home. He could just let it fly. I was cool with it. I wasn't disrespecting you. I just thought it was interesting that you leave American soil and all of a sudden, like, oh, there's a little more. You got a little more, like, fabulous.
Oh, it was so funny. And then the other part is when we went and did a surf lesson with Kelly Slater. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we went down to the beach. So I surf. I've got, used to the water. This is big surf going on, though, out there. This isn't like, right out here in, L.A. Basin. It's pretty big. And so I brought my fins, my wetsuit. And do you remember the old underwater camera housing?
Mm-hmm.
It was massive. It was huge.
Yeah.
And so Kelly runs up. He grabs Kelly Wigglesworth. And he's like, all right, let's do this thing, And immediately they just go running out into the surf. And there's a big channel. Like, they just start paddling way the hell out. And I'm trying to get my fins on because I'm going to chase them. And so I'm backing up into the surf, getting ready to chase them down. And do you remember this, Art? Just a massive beach break just comes in and just crushes me right on the shore, sends my fins flying. I'm dragging my knuckles across these rocks to hold on to the underwater camera housing. This was in front of all the former #1 surfers in the world. Like, it just cooked out enormously. And this guy goes, what happened there? Aren't you going to go out? Like, just analyzing the situation. I just completely shamed and humbled on the beaches of Biarritz.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Anyway, I digress. You, sir, what's your favorite memories?
I don't know if I can pick a favorite. It's always so hard, and that's what, if people are wild on people, that's what they tend to ask me, and it's just different every time. I mean, specific memories, like especially if it's like Brook related, I think it would be Cabo, because you guys know when you do TV stuff, you do it kind of out of order, right? So they want us to do tequila tasting, but you can't do tequila tasting when the place is open and loud and busy and everything, and they're not willing to shut down the music and shut down the whole place. It's going to cost some money. So we did tequila tasting in the morning. But then we did she had a photo shoot on the beach. But the behind the scenes of that episode that people don't realize is we are both hammered at the shoot part, because we did tequila tasting all morning. And you can actually see it because as the boat with us lands out at wherever, it's some Paradise Point or something. I forget what it's called. Not Paradise Point. What is it called? In Cabo where it has that cool shaped rock? What is that called?
Yeah, that arch in the water.
But we go out there and the boat brings us to the shore, and I just jump off the front and just fall like right in the water right away. And I still remember just being like, dude, we had so much tequila. I remember eating the worm. I remember her sitting in my lap. I remember her possibly pissing her pants. Like, there was, and it's just so funny because the viewer at home doesn't realize that we're doing that at 8 in the morning, you know what I mean? And then going to the photo shoot. And that's kind of cool. And you mentioned the broken back story. I just broke my back in Mexico, and I just learned a lot of things. I learned that you don't want to break your back in Mexico. Great people, great location, place to go on vacation, but the hospital's a little different than here. Because like the x-rays I had down there just looked like clouds. And then the dude, true story, the guy from the resort comes in, he goes, give all your belongings to your friends, everything, your sunglasses, your wallet, give it all to your friends. You don't want to have that in here when you're alone in the room. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because it'll be gone. Like, you'll get robbed while you're asleep. And I'm like, in the hospital? And he goes, oh yeah, for sure. But
Wow.
So it's just a different place. But we get to the place and we get ATV rentals. And our whole thing was we're going to do a site survey, right? That way you can expense the cost of the ATV rental.
Is
So we
this
rent ATVs,
is this in Cabo?
No.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Cabo? No, Acapulco.
No,
I jumped all over.
Acapulco. Okay.
Acapulco.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah, this is Acapulco. But so we're flying on this. There's this dirt road that's along the beach, and all of a sudden there's just this big. It's just no way to describe it other than a trap. Like, it was cut with a backhoe. The guy on this side had a bunch of flood water, and he wanted to get to the ocean. So he said, oh, there's a road in the way. I'll take this backhoe and just cut a huge ditch, like 10 feet across, 6 feet deep. And it's right as you come over this little crest. So it's completely hidden. And by being dug with a backhoe, there's no pile of dirt. There's nothing. And so we're just cruising on these quads, and the crew's all goofing around like all off the trail. And I'm going, oh, they had no rental helmets. I'm just going to take it easy on this, just cruising along like in fourth. And then I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, shit. Like, right as I come over this crest, and I ragdoll down the beach, and the machine hit me. That's what actually breaks my back, is the machine hit me, And so they come with I don't know what to call them. The ambulance, I've heard people call it like a MASH ambulance. Like, it's an old green truck with just the red cross on it.
Yeah.
But they can't get over to where I am, so they park on the other side of this resort, and they bring, and I know the slang with the EMTs and paramedics, I know the slang is, they call it a board. This was actually a piece of wood, like with just little handles cut in it. They put me on that, and they go to carry me to the ambulance. And so they cut through the back of this resort. My face is all bloody. I got broken back, and people are looking at me like horrified. I still remember, and Maggie, who was on the shoot, reminded me of this too. I like they're looking at me and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened?" I go, "Don't do the ATV rental. Like, it's dangerous." And then they throw me at the thing, and every time the guy would speed up, he'd speed up, I'd slide to the back, and my feet would hit the back door, and then he'd hit the brakes, and my head would hit the back here. It was a fiasco. But the one detail that I think is fun though is I was all worried because I destroyed this quad, right? It was one of those big like Honda like hunting quads with the rack on the front, the rack on the back, and this thing it just rolled so many times that the front wheels were bent in, all the plastics were gone, all those racks were gone, the bars were like hanging off, like dangling by the cables, and so I was afraid that I was gonna have to pay for this thing, right? And so I remember saying to Max the cameraman, I said, "Go back and check and see how that works. Do they just charge my credit card? Like stay on top of that so I don't get some like over the top charge." So he goes back to the ATV rental place, which was a small building on the beach. The building was gone. While I was at the hospital, they decided it's probably a good idea to just move their business.
Oh my God.
They towed the building away, dude. And I remember because dude, there's too much of this story. Who started me on the story?
I did.
So
Sorry.
the E channel would call. So the whole game was we got to get Art home.
Yep. I
So,
remember that.
well, I don't think they were that concerned, but they were a little bit concerned. They'd call me with different options. So they go, "Dude, we got it. You're flying to," and what's that called? Like the Baja Peninsula, whatever. "You're going from Acapulco to the Baja Peninsula, and then we're going to put you on a plane there. But you go by helicopter from here." I'm like, "All right, doesn't sound bad. Let's get me home." And they go, "Well, I just want to, just full disclosure. Have you ever seen where the helicopter has the clear tube on the outside that you're laying down in? Like you're going to ride in that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. That's a little fucked." And so I said no to that. And then they finally sent this G4 down there. And it's actually a true story. I haven't told people this, but I sell a lot of t-shirts and I always put the flag there. And I actually have the flag on my arm. And the reason why is one of the most like just glorious moments of my life was when this crew showed up and there were 5 people. They all had blue jumpsuits on with the American flag on the right sleeve. And so this always reminds me of like, and I'm not getting on a whole thing with you guys. This isn't, and by the way, it's not political. I'm just here to tell you that we live in a great country and I love it. And never was I happier to see a medical crew from America than right there. And then as I'm flying home, I hear the pilot and he goes, "Hey, tell Art we're over American soil." And I'm like, they got me strapped to the thing. I'm like, "I can't see." And he goes, "Stand by." And with the jet, he goes like this so I can see out the window. And I can still see that vision of San Diego because it felt so
turned it
freaking
sideways, the jet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember we had to refuel in, I think that Baja Peninsula, we had to refuel. And tell me, this is like, again, love Mexico, love Mexican people, and it's a great place to vacation, but you won't find this in the United States. So we land to refuel, and the pilot's like, they're not clearing us for takeoff. And he's like, he goes, "Just grab everything." And he's talking to the crew, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And then the one guy comes back and he goes, "Oh, they're not clearing us for takeoff. So we gather up all the Oreos and the Coke and Coca-Cola and the like any snacks we can find, and we go present it to the tower. And then as soon as you present it to them, they clear you for takeoff." It's a true story. And then and it was worse than that. They had a basket that they lowered down and you put the shit in the basket. And it's like, "All right, we're all set. Everyone buckle up. Let's go."
Art, Oreos
So we
are
had to
known
pay to-
international currency. You know that, right? Yeah, you know that now.
I do now. No, well, I didn't know they were quite so valuable.
So
And by the way, you asked other memorable moments. And good luck editing this thing because I talk so fast it's hard to find it in there, But I will tell you this. The Amazon stuff we did with the monkeys everywhere, oh my gosh. We stayed in this place in the middle of the Amazon jungle. I don't think it exists anymore, but we stayed in like these treehouse things. Dude, unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's just simple. You ever see a monkey jerk off with a leaf before? Like,
That's
only
our
on-
lead right there.
yeah, that's the teaser.
That's
Right
our
there.
teaser.
Yeah.
So, look, here's real quick the monkey story. You guys can edit this. So, we're walking around. So, we're staying at this place in the Amazon. And the place was like these tree houses. And they're all connected with these catwalks. And you're just walking through the jungle. And there's just random monkeys everywhere, right? I think it was Jenna and Alicia. And we're standing there just hanging out, waiting on the crew. And there's a monkey there. And he's got what appeared, and again, I'm obviously connecting some dots, but it appeared to be his wife. I don't know if they get married or whatever, but there's a monkey, his wife, and his young son. And they're all spooning, like they're just kind of cuddling up together. And I'm like, "Oh, it's so cute. Like, look at these guys." And all of a sudden, the dad is in the back, he's behind the mom, and he's just kind of got a little motion going to him. He's just, yeah, I think Milhouse would call it dry docking. And so he's rubbing against her, and all of a sudden out of nowhere she swings her arm around and goes, "Ah!" and just hits him, and he jumps up and moves away like this, and he comes walking over to us, and he's looking at us, and dude, monkeys are amazing to be around. He looks at us like, "Do you believe that shit? Did you guys see that?" Like, and then he even puts his hand up like this, like, "Hey, give me a little love." And so I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, dog," like whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm gonna try again. Hold on, I'll be right back." And he goes over, he tries again, same result. Bam! It goes like this, right? And he sits there, and now he's looking. He's got his big dong is all pink and large, And he starts just hitting it with the back of his hand. Like, I presume he's trying to say, like, "Sean, are you all right? Is this like what are we supposed to rating?
I'm just trying to, hide my own erection right now.
Thank you." And he reaches over here, he grabs this leaf. He's got this big leaf, and he's like going, And with his little monkey foot, he wraps his little monkey toes around the leaf, and then he proceeds to start working himself over with his leg, dudes. He's got his leg, and he's going like this.
It's like another hand.
And I still remember because the producers, Jenna and Alicia, are going, like, they're just like, "What the hell?" And I said, "Hey, let's just get out of here. I think I know how this ends." I didn't need to see this thing finish. You know what I mean?
We know how this.
But only on Wild On, right? Only on Wild On would you see that, and then sorry.
If I was a producer on that shoot, I know Jenna Rocher, I'd say turn the camera on that
Yeah.
monkey now.
Yeah. Do you remember what your final Wild On shoot was? Were you done after the search, or did you help out with a lot of Cindy?
I didn't do a lot of Cindy. I did some Cindy. You might find this interesting. So I went and I pitched a show, not as to the extreme that David Tell's show was, but I pitched a show where it was like a Wild On spinoff, but it's just my travels. And I remember they told me, no one's going to watch that. And then I was like, fuck. And then I pitched the same show to Mark Cuban's channel, and I ended up doing 250 episodes. So, like, for me, everyone loves your personal victories. For me, I'm like, oh, I guess no one's going to watch a show about
That
me,
was,
huh, you fuckers? Which is not about me anyway. It's about drunk people.
Art Man Presents was the name of that show, right?
Yeah, we did 250 of them. A good little taste of me doing my thing over on HDNet was, I thought it'd be fun to put "Hey, would you blow me" in the credits, right? I'm like, this will be funny. And so I'm like, let's put "Hey, would you blow me" in the credits. And then the boss says, sends me a message. "I need you to call me as soon as possible." And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I call him, and he goes, "Hey, I understand you put "Hey, would you blow me" in the credits." And I'm like, "Yes, sir. Yeah, we just thought it'd be fun, like just goofing around." And here's the funny thing. He didn't care that I put "Hey, would you blow me" in the credits. I got in trouble because I made "Hey, would you blow me" an executive producer. He said, a lot of people work here that's a carrot for them. That's something that they dream of, that they're shooting for. And here comes this "Hey, would you blow me?" and you just make him an executive producer. And I'm like, oh, so if I made him a,
Get
it down
you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that absolutely blessed, and just so lucky to work on something like that where you're going to so many places that you probably wouldn't even get to. Like it's someone else's dime, right? Like when would I just go stay in the Amazon jungle, or when would I go to trying to think of like some of the random ones where I might even just the
Island.
Carnival in Brazil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thailand. Like I'm not going, hey, I think let's just go to Bangkok like for fun. Like so a show like that is so great because you get to see everything. And then Brooke, if you work with Brooke, you can see why so many people loved her. Like we did one that stands out for me with Brooke was we did kind of a sleepover thing, where I'm like painting her nails and we're hanging out just talking about our favorite movies and stuff. And Brooke was just legit. Like the stuff we rolled on was what her and I were kind of doing anyway. Like it wasn't like putting on this little thing. It's just like the whole concept was just pretend we're having a little sleepover together. Well, not a sleepover, but you know what I mean? Like like you guys said, like I was her brother.
Slumber party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Slumber party. Yeah. We weren't doing pillow fights or anything, but just goofing around though, jumping on the bed, the whole thing. But it was just very real. I remember we were out on the ocean on some tall ship thing, and everyone's throwing up and everything. And Brooke is just such a good sport. I remember Glenn, my buddy, who's audio guy. Glenn was throwing up. He's wiping off his chin and stuff. And there's Brooke just rubbing the back of his head, like, "You gonna be all right?" Like I don't know. She's very genuine. Like
Yeah.
She made it very fun. And then we've all done different projects like since Wild On. We've all worked on different shows and different things. And I know Paul's nonstop with the books and everything. Have you worked on anything where you felt more like, what the hell? Like, you're going to pay me for this?
No, it was.
No,
I think it all left.
unequivocally no.
Yeah, definitely. It all left a mark on us for sure. Definitely a sense of also just wanderlust, like wanting to see more of the world. And what's funny is that we'd all come back, particularly Millhouse, we'd all come back and grouse about our job somehow, you know. And I would complain to my roommates, and they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying
Yeah.
right now?" Yeah.
And we
That's
that's the through line, Art, with you, Todd, the three of us, is we came away from the show with a sense of wanderlust that we wanted to continue both professionally and in our personal lives, right? And I know you have that as well.
And you probably had the same thing where you, because that's what I did with Art Man Presents. I said, all right, I got to do more of this. I got to find someone to pay for it.
Pay for it. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yep. You tapped into it.
It's just always so much happiness that we seem to have given people, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to make it sound like we were curing cancer or anything, but I
No,
think it's equally important.
Isn't it nice to be known for that, to bring that into the world of people? I mean, that's a nice legacy to live on.
Are you going to get Kelly Wigglesworth in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention. Come on out. All right, we're gonna roll, buddy. We love you. Thank you for doing
Thanks,
it.
brother.
Good catching
Wait, this
up.
is it?
Yeah.
This is it.
Good to see you guys. Do we
Good
need
to
an
see you, bro.
outro in this?
Yeah, give us an outro.
I'm
Give
Art
us
Give us
a-
an
Man. You've been
outro.
watching the Wildest Show on Earth.
Wait,
Oh,
start
nice.
cleaning.
Yeah,
it.
let's get a safety on that.
I'm Art Man, and you're either watching, listening, or both to the Wildest Show on Earth, which is a true story. That is not. Some people say it's the wildest, whatever. This show right here, dude.
Awesome. It's
All
good
right,
seeing you.
man.
Love your stories.
You're still the man.
The man,
Yeah.
the man, literally, Art Man.
Good to see you
Thank you.
guys, man.
You too,
This
bro.
is cool as fuck.
You will.
All right, later, buddy.
Cheers.